Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today, and this book, it's iconic. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Oh, absolutely.
This thing came out in 1937, can you believe that?
That's incredible.
Still selling like hotcakes.
I know.
So, does this vintage advice still work today? That's what we're going to find out.
You know what's fascinating about this book is thinking about when it came out, right? The Great Depression. People are struggling to just get by, morale's low, and here comes Carnegie with like this guidebook for navigating a world that feels like it's falling apart. No wonder it resonated.
And for me, I'm kind of a geek about these self-help books.
Yeah.
And what Carnegie does with stories, it's brilliant. I mean, he starts the whole thing talking about how he spent like a decade studying Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
Wrote a whole other book about him just to prep for this one.
Right.
I mean, to talk about doing your research.
Talk about understanding, what makes people tick. And starting with, somebody like Lincoln, one of the great communicators.
It's like he's saying, forget manipulation. This is about like really mastering connection.
Yeah.
Which is a much better way to think about winning friends, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he talks about understanding people's wants, it's almost like he's predating all this modern psychology we have now about what motivates people, right?
Yeah.
That we have these deep-seated desires that drive our actions.
Okay, so let's get into it. Some of these principles, they're timeless. Don't criticize.
Right.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But the way he illustrates it is amazing. Like, the story about Lincoln, right, writes this scathing letter to General Meade after Gettysburg.
Oh, man. That story gives me chills every time I hear it, Here's Lincoln, arguably facing the most pressure of his presidency.
Of course.
Completely letting Meade have it in this letter.
Yeah.
Criticizing his every move, and then doesn't send it.
Never sends it. Imagine finding that after Lincoln died. Right.
I know.
Talk about an email from history. That, thank goodness, never got sent.
It's incredible. But it shows Lincoln's awareness, his self-awareness. Like,
right.
Okay, unleashing my frustration on this guy right now, it's not actually going to help anything.
Right.
So he's choosing the long game over the short-term venting.
Which, let's be honest, we could all use a little more of that today.
100%, yeah.
And look, it's not that Carnegie is saying let things slide, right? It's more about what's going to get me the outcome that I want. Like, do I need to blow up or build a bridge?
Totally. And then he follows it up with Father Forgets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that one gets me right in the feels every time, about the dad looking back on a day of criticizing his son and just the regret.
Oh, I know it.
Yeah.
It's like you get so caught up in, I want this done this way.
Yeah.
You forget there's an actual human there. Right. It's like a reminder that urge to criticize, it often comes from our own insecurities or a need for control.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes offering appreciation, even for something small, it's way more powerful.
And speaking of appreciation, I love how Carnegie calls this legal tender for the soul.
Yeah.
And he's got this story about the grieving widow who gives away her Packard because somebody was just nice to her.
It's powerful. Just a testament to the impact that just a small gesture.
Yeah.
You never know what somebody's going through, and a little bit of kindness goes such a long way.
It's like that story with Herbert Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
The Hoover, right.
Right.
And the pilot accidentally damages his plane.
Right.
Instead of freaking out, he puts his arm around the guy. He's like, look, to show you that I know you'll never do this again, I need you to service my F-51 tomorrow.
Amazing. I know. Such an unexpected reaction. But it's classic Carnegie, recognizing that everybody from, a mechanic to a president craves that respect, that appreciation.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah. It really is, and it makes you think like, okay, maybe the best way to influence somebody is to actually show them that faith.
Right.
So, moving on, another one of these Carnegie principles, listening.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know it's important.
Right.
But the way he breaks down why it's such a game changer, it's pretty cool.
He really does. And he doesn't just say, hey, listen. He gives you these examples.
Right.
That stick with you, like the story of the guy who joins the Telephone Subscribers Protective Association.
Wait, what? That's a real thing.
Well, no, not exactly.
Okay.
So this telephone company rep, he's dealing with this customer who is furious.
Oh, I know the type.
About the service.
Yeah.
And instead of arguing back, the rep just listens.
Really?
While this guy rants and raves for, get this.
Hours.
Okay, that's some serious listening.
It really is.
I can barely handle like 5 minutes on hold with my internet provider.
I hear you.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
by just listening?
Empathizing, whatever. He completely disarms the guy, right?
He does.
And the customer's so blown away, he insists that this rep has to be a charter member of his new Telephone Subscribers Protective Association.
I love that.
So instead of a complaint, he gets a friend.
Right.
Right.
It's amazing.
That's incredible.
But it shows you the power of truly hearing somebody.
Yeah.
And Carnegie was kind of ahead of his time, right? We call it active listening today. And there's research that this stuff works. It lowers defenses. It triggers those mirror neurons, creates connection.
It makes sense, right? When someone actually listens to you, no interrupting, no judging, it feels good.
Right.
It makes you want to actually talk to them.
Validated.
Yeah, exactly.
And Carnegie talks about, even remembering names, something so small
Oh, yeah.
can make a huge difference.
Cute.
And he even tells a story of Jim Farley, political strategist. This guy could recall the names of 50,000 people.
50,000. That's like a whole town. How do you even...
I know, right? But Farley was meticulous about it. He'd collect information on everyone he met.
Wow.
Their families, their interests, their backstories. He understood that a person's name, it's deeply tied to their identity.
Yeah.
And remembering it shows respect, it shows care, and people, they respond to that.
I am so bad with names.
Really.
It's embarrassing. Like, I've had those moments where I've just completely blanked.
We've all been there.
And it's so awkward.
But Carnegie, he says, even if you're not a natural, you can train yourself
Okay.
to get better, just like Andrew Carnegie did, right? He used to write down people's names and study them diligently.
Oh my goodness, the dedication.
It really is.
But it makes you think, if you put in the work, something so simple,
Right.
remembering a name can actually make a difference.
It can, even in small, everyday interactions, Like that story he tells about the cafeteria worker whose entire demeanor, it changes.
Oh, yeah.
When somebody finally bothers to learn her name.
It's like we want to feel seen.
No matter who we are or what we do.
Totally.
Which actually reminds me of something else Carnegie talks about. Preparation. He's
Yeah.
got this great story about Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Reading up on his dinner guests' interests the night before they came over.
I know. It's like, can you imagine the effort? But it speaks volumes about his commitment
Right.
to making genuine connections.
Yeah.
He wasn't just going through the motions.
Right.
He was putting in the work to actually engage with people on a deeper level.
And it makes you wonder, how much better our interactions would be if we all did that.
Right.
Instead of just talking about ourselves, what if we actually came prepared
Yeah.
to ask questions, to learn about the other person's world?
It's about shifting from me to we, a fundamental shift that Carnegie was really pushing for.
It's so true. And, they say people might not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
And Roosevelt clearly got that.
So, okay, another piece of Carnegie's work that I found really interesting. He talks about dramatization.
Yes.
Now, before anyone thinks am I supposed to put on a play at my next work meeting?
Right. What
is he talking about here?
Yeah, dramatization, it sounds a little much.
Yeah.
But he's really talking about making your message memorable and tapping into people's emotions, their imagination.
Okay.
Think of it this way, right? Would you rather listen to someone drone on and on about statistics
No.
or hear a compelling story
This story, for sure.
that brings those statistics to life?
Yeah, 100%. Our brains are wired for story.
Exactly. And Carnegie, he understood that we are just inundated with information all the time.
Right.
So to break through that noise, you got to make your message stick.
It's true.
But he also cautions against using this manipulatively, right? It's not about tricking people.
Right.
It's about presenting your ideas in a way that truly connects and resonates.
So it's like the difference between the used car salesman with the cheesy grin and the captivating speaker.
Totally.
They're both trying to persuade you.
Right, but one is doing it by building actual connection.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that focus on sincerity,
Yeah.
that's what makes his work last.
It's true.
Because he's not giving quick fixes, right?
Right.
It's about genuine connection.
That's a timeless principle.
Yeah, yeah. And those never go out of style.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today,
we have.
and I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this
Yeah.
book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, it's a classic for a reason, right? Packed with wisdom and insights that are just as good today as they were almost 100 years ago.
100%. If you're looking for a guide to really mastering
Mm-hmm.
the art of human interaction, and who isn't,
Yeah.
This book it's a must-read.
And it's kind of a good reminder that even though everything's so fast today, so digital, the fundamentals, they're the same.
Well,
People, they want respect.
Yes.
They want to feel understood. They want to belong, yeah.
Yeah.
And that never changes.
It really doesn't.
Okay, so we're at the end of our deep dive here.
Okay.
But before we go, something to think about.
Yes, go for it.
Think back to, like, one interaction you had today. Could have been anything. Quick chat with a coworker, text with a friend, whatever.
Right.
Could you have used one of Carnegie's principles to make it just a little bit better?
Oh, I like that.
A little more listening, a little genuine appreciation, find that shared interest.
Yeah.
Just something to ponder as we go throughout the rest of our day.
Who knows? Maybe that small shift can have a ripple effect, right?
I love it.
Leading to those deeper connections,
It's true.
more meaningful relationship.
I love it. Well, hey, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the work of Dale Carnegie. It's great stuff. And until next time, keep those conversations going, keep those connections strong, and most importantly, keep learning.